Thank you very much. And this is not a political meeting. So I am greeting the chairman of the constituency, Dwayne Spencer, and of course, our councillor, the elected councillor for the Myersville division. I normally call him comrade, but it's so difficult not to call him comrade, but he's councillor, Leighton Smith. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. I love the spirit. I love the openness. I love the frankness. Because you have spoken, some of you more heated than others, but you have spoken very well. And as representatives of the people, we appreciate this level of honesty, this level of frankness. You know, we have a government, and when Jisco was being open, them didn't want me to go there, you know. When the announcement was being made, they didn't want me to be associated with it, you know. And it's me cause Alpart to reopen, and I'm proud of that. But with any business, you're going to have problems. You're going to have issues. And the government of the day is supposed to be right up there with the people to deal with these issues. So they should be here tonight. Everybody knows I was coming because yesterday in Parliament, I announced it to Jamaica that I will be here today to meet with the residents. Because all over the world, wherever there is mining, you have problems. You have problems. And those problems are to be solved. People should not have to get to the point of demonstration, of blocking roads and vilifying investors to get problems solved. Let me deal firstly with the water situation, because it's not today I am aware of that issue. From 2002, I actually went in the cabinet 97, and from those days, we have been bombarded by the representatives, Danny Buck, before Derek Rochester, before him, Derek Rochester, come all the way down, even Pachi. And they all have been contending about the water for the Myersville division and these communities in particular. And I'm aware what is happening. And let me be completely open about this. As your counselor has said, if they are bypassing any of you to get to junction with this water system, I will come and join you on the road. I'll come and join you on the road. It is unfair. It is downright unfair. I don't have a problem with people from junction getting water. They deserve it. But you deserve it more because this was meant for you first. And it's my belief that there is enough water. But don't start with all the way down the bottom. Make sure that as the communities are passed, they get their water. And we'll all live in. You agree? Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Now, let me talk about Alpart. I became minister in 2012 for mining. It was the first time I was being minister for mining. I was involved with telecommunications. Most of you have 2 and 3 phones nowadays, and you have access to internet and so on. That was my business before. But in 2012, when I got the portfolio, Alpart had shut, Kirkvine had shut, they were about to shut Windalco at Yewerton, and a sea of problems. When I used to drive through places like Nain, was like a ghost town. It was, I couldn't even find people on the street. And I used to pass through years before. The barber shops were closed, the bars were closed, and the whole place. Precisely. And the place was shorter, but you still had a mud lake that the Russians were supposed to maintain. Sometimes you got problems too, because the dust used to affect you. And the cry of the people is for minister, make we get back some employment into this place, make we get back some economic life, make we open back the plant. So I went to the Russians because they were all satisfied to keep the place closed. Because on their books, it shows as assets. They had licenses to mine the place, even though they weren't using them, but it represents for them assets in Jamaica. And I gave them 6 months. I said, 6 months, if you don't open, then we're going to take back these licenses from you. And within that time frame, they start back some mining. Many of you don't remember that, but they started some mining. But as minister, I go to them and say, listen, you can't be taking trucks from your plant down to Port Kaiser and the road them stay so bad. And I said to them, I will not have it. So you have to fix up some of these roads. So I don't know if you remember, but they fix up the roads the leading from the plant to Port Kaiser. They fix up the road. I went and I make sure I see it. That is what a minister must do. That is what a minister must achieve for the people. And we got them to do that. But shortly after that, I said to them, what about the refinery? Them said them don't have the money. So I said, well, if you don't have the money, then you have to sell it and pass it to somebody who can. And then big up them chest, and me big up my chest worse. And so eventually, Christmas Day, 2015, when I was a minister, I was on the phone from my yard. The people from China, they were on their phone. The people from Russia on their phone. They were negotiating. They couldn't come to a deal. And them called me for help. And on that day, we signed off on the reopening of Alpart. Christmas Day 2015. So don't make anybody fool you. Don't make anybody fool you about that. And in spite of the issues we face now, I am proud of that achievement because you know why? Recently, the government announced that the economy has grown 1.8%, and they're bigging up their chest. But when I look at the figures, the majority of that growth is as a result of one company. You know which company? Alpart, Jisco. Jisco Alpart. So the growth that they are experiencing now and them bigging them up them chests about is because of the work that was done before. And they don't like to give credit, but you must give credit where credit is due. So for achieving that, I understand when you say you want to see me. I understand when you say you want to see me. Because I was the one who negotiated that deal. And trust me, my role and my attitude as a minister is that you can't just bring investors and let them loose without guidance, without ensuring that certain things are dealt with. And you'd have to be very proactive because this is a very sensitive area. You have environmental issues, and an active minister ought to be dealing with these issues and to solve them. And there's nothing that cannot be solved. That is my philosophy. All right, let us look at some of the issues. And I met recently with the chairman of Jisco. Unfortunately, today he's no longer the chairman. There's a new chairman that has been appointed, and I have signaled to them that there are some urgent matters that we have to deal with. So it's not me alone going to meet with them. I'm taking to the meeting Dwayne Spencer, and I'm taking to the meeting Councillor Leighton Smith. And they have to listen to us. They have to listen to us. And there will be no disrespect shown to anybody at that meeting. I'm going to be there to make sure that happens. I was responsible for them being here. And I'm going to ensure that respect is due on both sides. I believe this, and it is true. I was here one day, I got a feverish call from Mr. Spencer. And this is after many calls from your miserable councillor. Everywhere him see me, whether NEC meeting, anywhere him see me, I may get WhatsApp message late when people supposed to be in them bed doing other things. From Leighton, say, boy, we need your help, urgent, emergency. So I came in January, and it was about a day or two after a dusting. And I saw with my own eyes what people are going through. Today I came back. And before we came here, because I know some of you don't really like to come to public meetings, I walked with Mr. Spencer to a number of the communities. And a lady took some toilet paper, wiped in one area, and I say, red residue. And then she moved from that area, go to another place and wipe. And I say, white residue. So the white rain that you spoke about, I know what is happening. And it is clear that not enough is being done to stem the pollution. It is clear that not enough is being done. I think the issue of compensation is relevant. It's relevant. And I'm going to take with them phones and I'll give you too much phones. I have to agree that if there is an issue about compensation, the company can't be the arbiter in such a matter. The government has a regulatory body. So I can't see why NEPA can't be more involved, because the company really has its interest to protect. NEPA has the interest of the people. So if there is a problem, you are supposed to call NEPA. NEPA should come and say to the company, yes, we have found that there has been a dusting issue. And hereby compensation must be paid. It can't be left to the company to send its employees to make that determination. So that really, I believe, is an injustice that needs to be changed. That needs to be changed. Again, the level of compensation. I didn't know, but today when I walked, a lady told me that she lives in the house, but she rents the place from her landlord. And the little money that comes, sometimes she doesn't get a cent. And she lives in the place. This whole basis of compensation has to be tackled differently. I believe the suggestion that has been made for a monthly amount, which is based on some reasonable assessment and budget, should be put to the company. And I think we are going to put that to the company when we meet with them next week. When the matter was raised some time ago, they had mentioned to me about relocation. Now, I visited an area today where people were relocated to. What's the name of the place again? Yes, a housing scheme. Yes, we went up there today. So that was supposed to be an area of refuge but you are now plagued by the problem. I am being told that Montpellier is a better location. Is that so? So we have to put back on the agenda this issue of relocation. Well, I'm hearing, and we have taken the notes on this. But my friends, there has to be, no man, somebody said mandible. We're going to be reasonable. We're going to be reasonable. All right? But above all, though, because I don't expect everybody to leave, so there must be a way to solve this problem. You know, when we thought about the reopening of Alpart, one of the things that I was told is that once the refinery gets back going, the residue will be wet, and that it will offset the issue of dusting. That once you have the red mud lake resuscitated by activity, that in itself would ease the problem. But it doesn't appear as if that is happening. So we have to pursue that. We have to pursue that. Because I don't see everybody moving. Some of you have your people buried on your land. I pass so many graves in the community. We have to find a way to get the people to live in peace and harmony without being so afflicted. I heard Dr. Spencer speaking about the medical attention. And I have to applaud him because he just said a while ago that it doesn't matter the business that he's getting. If you got your lump sum, you can take it to any doctor you want to, which is good. I think it's commendable for him to say that and to pledge that he will be unselfish. But I just, and I agree with him also that there should be mandatory chest x-rays for people just to make sure that you are okay, and that should not be seen as a burden on the company, especially for those of you who are in such close proximity. So there's a problem. There are problems. And when you have problems, rather than shirking and hiding from the people, I, as opposition, because I'm not government, some people look at me a while ago and mention Prime Minister name to me and Minister name to me. I am here as opposition. And I believe the opposition has a clear role to advocate, to represent you, and if needs be, as with the water, to come and stand on the road to protest, as I will do. So we are going to take that role on, and what we need to do, because I have gotten the sense, what I want to do is to set another date for a meeting where we come and report back to you. We'll come and report back to you. And I'll tell you something. I am going to invite the company to come here and report to you. I know you are respectful people. I know if people come here to try to solve problems with you, you're going to sit and work with them. So there should be no fear for them to come and sit with you and to have these discussions. And again, I brought them here, and they must can take my advice, because there's nothing wrong with them coming, sitting down here, taking notes, and responding to you. Responding to you who have to go through these difficulties. So, this week is Easter. You're going to allow me this week? Yes. Next week, we're going to try and meet with them. So the week after that, we'll come back here. Yep, we'll come back here. We come back here. And we will be back here on as many times as possible until we can solve this problem. I was driven to get Alpart reopened because I believe that there are no problems that we can't solve. And I'm now driven to solve this problem because it affects too many of you for us to let it slide. And I so pledge. Thank you very much. Respect.
Thank you very much, spokesperson on mining and energy, MP Philip Baldwell. Thank you very much, and thank you, Dr. Spencer and Councillor Smith, for those words. Just going to use 5 minutes. If there's anything that any of you have left to say and want to come forward to ask the questions, then we will want to take those now. Question, come forward, please. Project your voice.
Yes. Yes. I'm going back to when this industry started 60 years ago. And Jamaica is peculiar from Russia and China because Jamaica is a small place. And 90% of this country is limestone, you know. And so much of it is bauxite. And our bauxite is surface bauxite, so it's easier to mine than elsewhere. I am not aware of some of the issues in other countries, but I know as mining minister, and when we meet other ministers, the issue of the environment, the issue of resettlement, and so on, those are issues that we all share. We all share. But people solve these problems. Some of it is solved by moving our people far and wide to make the area sterile. Some of it through what we do. I believe that as a country, we probably have not been as meticulous and careful enough in the way we regulate the companies that do mining in Jamaica. And I think that's a challenge that we have to bear. And I really believe that NEPA has to, and the JBI, both of them have to now become far more proactive in monitoring mining. And I should let you know it's not only bauxite alone. When I was minister, I issued some licenses for gold and copper. And those things, if you find them, are good things. But they are going to be in communities where people live. And the challenge now, and yesterday, for those of you who listened to me, I know many of you didn't, in Parliament, I suggested that a national mining council be established. Because mining is not just about the investors and what money they can make. Mining has to be about you, the people. And so there should be a council that comprises the stakeholders in this business, consumers, environmentalists, and they should be meeting once a quarter to be proactive in dealing with some of these issues. We have some peculiar issues in this area. I believe that the suggestions that I have heard ought to be taken on board as we try to solve the problem, and that the company must be related much more openly to the people and not just to a organization. And that's the reason why I see nothing wrong with inviting them to come to a forum like this, to sit and hear you, because they might not even be aware. And I know when Councillor Smith speaks to them, they might not even appreciate that this is real. When they come here and they see your face and they look in your eyes, as I have done today, they will be convinced that these are urgent issues that need urgent attention and urgent rectification. Thank you. Yes, we have just completed a meeting of various communities in the Myersville division. This is my second time in the area since the start of the year, and the purpose of the meeting, as I was invited by the PNP candidate for the area, Mr. Dwayne Spencer, and the councillor, Councillor Leighton Smith, to hear some of the issues and complaints of the residents in relation to the operations at Jisco Alpart. The issues surround primarily environmental, the dusting caused by dust residue from the mud lake, and also residue from the alumina operations.